Hello, I'm Polina from Petri Dvorets. I work in Raketa. I love Raketa watches and I'm happy to make an interview of Russian watches collectors. If you love Raketa watches, please send me a mail and I will be happy to make your interview. Our guest today, Mark Gordon, is the world's largest collector of Russian watches. Mark Gordon, you're the most famous Russian watch collector. Tell me more.
Yes, I'm Mark Gordon, and I am a collector of Soviet watches. I am living in Singapore right now. I was originally born in New York, though, and if we go further back, my grandparents are from Minsk in Russia. I am in marketing, is my job, but my heart is in collecting Soviet-era Russian clocks and watches.
Why watches? Why Russian watches?
I don't collect watches. What I really collect is history. The Soviet clock and watch industry represents a very unique moment in industrial history in the West. It is the only time an entire industry was started from scratch in a socialist environment to become one of the largest industries of its kind in the world. In 1917, when Lenin began his experiment with socialism, there was no clock and watch industry in Russia to speak of. A few workshops to make watches for rich people and the Tsar. In 1970, the 1960s, 1970s, Russia was the second largest producer of mechanical clocks and watches in the world after Switzerland, and produced an incredible variety of calibers and movements for applications that even the Swiss were not doing. They were putting into mass production features that were only present at the time on the most expensive Swiss watches. So what I am collecting and trying to document is this incredible industrial history that happened only one time in European Western history.
Mark, please tell me more about your collection.
I began collecting actually by accident. Back in 1999, I was browsing around eBay, bored, one rainy afternoon, and I found a watch that was advertised as a Russian watch, and it actually was a SS-20 titanium watch. And I now know it was a 3133 caliber chronograph. And I said, oh, I didn't know the Russians made watches, right? So I bought it out of curiosity.
Mark, why are Russian watches more interesting than Swiss watches?
I have many friends in the Swiss industry, some at very exclusive watch companies. I won't mention the names. And they have come and examined the pieces in my collection. Some have come over and over again to examine the calibers in my collection. And they are just astounded by the technologies that were employed in Soviet times for the mass production of watches. They tell me that even in Switzerland, that some of these technologies never were used, never mass produced, only used on the most exclusive watches. And here we see in the Soviet times the democratization of these expensive and exclusive technologies involving the hairspring, right? Technologies involving the bearings and the shock-resistant mechanisms that are used to protect the jewels. The Soviet watch industry had much to teach the Swiss about producing watches and doing it efficiently and doing it at the highest quality. And this comes to me not from my opinion, but from the people in Switzerland who I know.
Mark, can you tell me, are the Swedes jealous of Russian watches?
If you look at the Swiss industry, what drives the Swiss industry? It's a market economy. The Swiss industry strives for precision, complication, beauty, precision. these were not the things that drove the Soviets. The Soviet Union being a socialist economy was interested in reliability, was interested in utility, was interested in repairability, right? Completely different set of goals in the engineering and design of the watches and the production of the watches. And so the Soviet industry is very unique and very different than the Swiss industry. And the products are amazing in different ways, in very unique and different ways.
I love Raketa watches. Mark, what about you?
If you examine Raketa watches on my website, of which there are many, many, I am a big fan of Raketa watches from the past. In the 1980s, they made beautiful dials, graphically stunning dials. And one of the things that saddened me was the demise of this factory and the creativity that went into producing these designs. And recently I saw the designs for the new Raketa line that is going to be introduced. And I must tell you that I am very happy to see that this spirit, of graphic design, this Soviet spirit of graphic design, is being brought back to life in these watches.
I love more the man with Raketa watch than the man with an expensive Swiss watch. Mark, what is your opinion?
I think it's very sad that we see prominent Russian people wearing Swiss watches, expensive Swiss watches. I think they owe it to the people who put them in power, okay, to support the industries that employ Russians, first of all. Secondly, the watches produced in Russia, the best of them, are the equal of any Swiss watches. Maybe not in terms of the gold content, but in terms of the reliability of telling the time and the beauty and sophistication of the engineering. I would like to see Russian leaders, people in public life, I would love to see them wearing Russian watches, because they are wearing on their hand not just an instrument to tell the time. They are wearing the history of the Russian people on their wrist, really, in a sense.
Mark, thank you very much for this very interesting interview. I hope you like it.